All right, welcome to another episode of Creative Appetite. Today I'm joined by my good friend Tyler.
Hey, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Tyler is a videographer / photographer. He does some really cool street photography, which we're going to get into, and then we'll dabble into his videography projects and see what's going on with the future. Welcome, big dog.
Thanks for having me, man. Excited.
It's a good feeling. How you going with the headphones?
Yeah, it's good. It's comfortable. I think it'll take a little bit of getting used to, but we'll get there.
So I definitely want to talk straight away about your street photography because I really like street photography. I think it's a really cool form of art. Yeah, especially I actually get really nervous about trying to do it. Yeah, because I get nervous about taking a photo of someone and then they just come up and staunch me. So how did you get into How did you get into the street photography?
So for me, it kind of started when I got into just film photography in general. I guess I started off with just your standard cliche party photos and things like that, just with disposable film cameras. And I got to a stage in my photography where I really wanted to move past the cliche photo styles and the cliches of how you your composition of your photo and the look that everyone shoots. And that's when I kind of started branching into a whole bunch of different photographers and looking at who I want to draw my inspiration from. And for me, I went into a deep dive, man. It was when I was in film school as well, so I was already flooded with stimulus for old time movies and old time filmmakers, and I was street photography, when did it start? There's a few street photographers out there at the moment that are super talented and they're young, but it's this all came from somewhere. And so I kind of went back and kind of backtracked to just some older street photographers, or the kind of the pinnacle people that started street photography. And that was photographers like Bruce Gilden. He's probably the most audacious street photographer. He has no chill when it comes to getting in people's faces. That guy I drew a lot of inspiration from because watching him on the streets, and because he's been shooting since I think it was the 60s or the 70s. He would just get up into people's faces. He's from Brooklyn, so he's got Boston or something. He's got the most
just
thick
no chill
Boston accent, and he just does not care. And so he would just get up into people's faces and just full flash, and just go up to people and just get up in their face, probably a quarter of a distance between me and you right now, so close, and would just bang, flash them. And they're just in complete surprise, but he captured the most insane up close street photos. And he used a thing it's just a speed light, but what he used was a technique called shutter dragging, where you lower the shutter speed of your film camera, and what happens is when you take a photo with a lowered shutter speed and a flash light, you get this effect where the main focus of your subject that you're shooting is completely in focus and super sharp, but the entire background is this wavy mess of shutter drag. And it makes this insane looking aesthetic, but makes your photos so unique. And I never seen any street photographer do something like that. Every other photographer that I looked at, I think it was Joey Merowitz or Joel Merowitz or something like that, and a few other great photographers, they do amazing different types, but they're all still like that kind of just standard street photography style, where Bruce Gilden was just completely different.
Dude, that is the best intro. I didn't even have to say one word. That's so good, man.
Thanks.
So let's touch on the film school, because you meant now I'm getting my words right now. I'm crumbling under the pressure. No. So film school. Where did you do the film school?
So I studied at Griffith Film School in Brisbane at the South Bank campus.
Nice.
So again, when I got out of school, I was doing film in just normal school. That was my favorite class, and my teacher, shout out to Mr. Hume, was
big shout out,
best teacher ever. And I hated that school, but he was the reason I liked that school. And he gave me like kind of what I needed to kind of, and the confidence I needed to get into film, because I always wanted to do it. And when I got out of school, I didn't get the OP I needed to get into Griffith. And so I ended up going to TAFE, and I did like a 1-year TAFE degree at the East Coast TAFE, just like locally. And it ruined my I guess passion for film, like just destroyed it.
That's like I guess like, because you are, sorry, I'm not cutting you off, but touching on doing something that you don't like and like losing your passion. How did you then find your passion to continue and move? Like, so when you were talking about, was this like a bridging course that you're talking about?
Yeah, it was like a bridging course to get the credits to get into uni.
To do the film course.
Yeah.
And because the bridging course doesn't touch, it's just like it's like your basic maths, English, and all that stuff. Is that
no? So this was a diploma in film and screen media that was done by the TAFE. So it not only gave me the credits I needed to get into film, but also gave me credits for for uni. So I didn't have to do some of the subjects as well.
So it wasn't to do with your ATAR or anything like that.
Nah. It was what's the other school?
Queensland might be different. New South Wales, they have ATAR. Like when you go to year 12, you got to do your ATAR.
It wasn't called ATAR. It's something else. I forgot what it's called.
That's all right.
Yeah, similar concept.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I didn't get those points that I needed because the previous year it was high. It was like you needed an OP 15 to get into the film school. Yeah. And then my year it was like dropped down to like a 7. And I'm like, what the heck? And I got like a 12. So like I couldn't get in. So I was like, contacted them and I was like, how can I get in? And they're like, oh, you need to do like a bridging course to get in. And so I was like, what's the best bridging course? And I did that TAFE degree. And that TAFE degree, it was so bad. Like, oh my gosh.
Just poorly run?
It was so poorly run. Like, it was, I don't want to like get into it too badly, but I'll happily dog the East Coast TAFE because they screwed me so bad.
Don't hold back.
Yeah,
just let them have it. Maybe they'll listen and then
I hope they do.
They're like, oh man, I need to sort this out.
I've heard some things that have gone down there. But it was very poorly run. I spent a lot of money on that course. Like I think it cost me half of what my film degree cost me at Griffith.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like, long story short, made up of like rocking up most days of a week and my teacher like not caring about us and just playing us YouTube videos on how to do things and then we'd go do them. And I was like, cool. Like I just paid $12K to watch YouTube.
That would be soul sucking, especially if you're young and trying to, like, you're really inspired to get out there and like chase your passion. Yeah, I've had similar situations.
Dude, the teachers make the difference, man. Like if your teacher isn't passionate about their art that they're trying to teach you, then that reflects on the students. And I found that like all teachers in this just did not care, but also like their attitude towards the students wasn't very good. So it wasn't just that. It was obviously the quality of the content that they were trying to teach wasn't there because they didn't have much experience from what they told us their background was. So it sucks because it felt like I was just wasting a year when I could have just been like going out and shooting. But it got me into uni and then I'm so glad like I did it. Even though I hated it, I'm so glad I did it to get into film school because that changed everything.
How long was the TAFE?
Just 1 year. So it was 1 year out of school.
Did you say, you've already said that, haven't you? Did you say that?
I don't think I said that.
Okay, good. I was like trying to run back in my brain. I'm like, maybe you did say that. And how long was the uni course?
Uni course it's a 3-year course.
Full on. Is it all based around film or is it just photography and film?
Film, yeah. So it's
all film.
Yeah, it's to do with like it's a bachelor in film and screen media production, and it covers pretty much every like part of the film industry that is kind of out there. As like a role that you can play. So you basically learn like every different type of skill when it comes to directing, cinematography, sound, sound, production, producing, everything.
Yeah.
And so you go through 3 years of like kind of trial and error because a lot of people like when I rocked up, me and every other person there was like, I'm going to be a director, like I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. And everyone was like, first day, just like socializing and like making like connections. And everyone was like so pumped. And we're like, yeah. And it was like term 2 and everyone's like, I hate this, I'm leaving. Like,
I've seen that before.
Yeah,
I had something like happen to me when I was doing acting. I was doing acting classes.
Yeah, right.
I was like, I'm gonna be the biggest actor ever. I'm gonna be doing this or whatever. And then so like got into it, found out how intense it was, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm cut out for this.
Yeah.
So I know
It's crazy, man.
It's like it's so funny like watching people and how excited they are and so naive.
Yeah.
And then they realize how much information that they have to,
Dude.
like all the information that they don't want to learn about. And that always comes first.
Yeah. They literally fed us the vegetables of the course, and everyone was just like, I don't like vegetables.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was wild. Like, even for me, man, I was like I almost reluctantly went into the course because of how much of my passion was just shattered by this course that I did prior. And so I was rocking up, and it was like literally before the course, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like, I was like, I think I'm done. Like, this is just not for me. But I was just like, nah, like I've already spent a year like studying to get it. I may as well just do it. If I don't like it, then I'll just defer. But I was like, nah, I'm going to give it a go. Did it, and I was like, wow, like big, they just slap you in the face, man. They're like, this is what the industry is like, because what you think it's like is so far from what it is actually like in terms of like how hard it is.
Yeah.
Or just how much complexity is in each role and how important it is and the responsibility that you have to take on. I think responsibility in this industry is like such an under-taught thing, or an under, like, I don't know. Like, I guess it's just people don't realize how much responsibility you have or have to have.
Can you explain what you mean by responsibility, just for someone? Because there's going to be people out here who wouldn't really know about photography, or maybe they do, and they don't understand about responsibility. So even because for me, I kind of get what you're saying, but can you elaborate?
So like in terms of your roles, so you have, when you're in a film crew, you have a role that you need to fulfill. And if you don't fulfill that role, then like your film can literally just come crashing down. So the biggest thing that we all learnt in film school was the ability to cooperate with other people in a team and to communicate clearly and to be able to do our jobs as best we can. And if we don't communicate and don't do these things, then it can really affect the quality of our film, how the process goes, a lot of things. So if you're, say, for example, a sound recorder, then your responsibility is to make sure that you know every setting on this recording, on this recorder device that you're using, that you're pointing the mic in the right way, that you're like picking up any background sounds, that you're not making noise, like touching the mic, like you have to make sure that you've got all these things intact and make sure that you're not trying to, like, you want to try and avoid mistakes.
Yeah, understanding your job role so that you're effective within the team.
Exactly.
So then the end product is
as good as possible.
Okay.
And like, I guess in that aspect, especially when it came to directing and producing, which is like the most wanted position of everyone at the film school when you first start out. Like when everyone rocks up to film school, when you think about directing, you think, okay, like I just get to tell people what to do. I have an idea of like what I want to do, and everyone has to listen to me, and that's it. Like I go, I want this, and they will do it. Like, but it's not like that. Like the director covers so much more than just telling people how they want it to look. Like there's so much communication between so many different roles within a film crew that a director has to do. And a lot of people realize this, and like the weight that carries and the responsibility that carries in order to bring a film through. And it's not an easy job, man. And so,
No, it'd be tough. I did a bit of on-screen acting, and like you deal with directors and stuff like that. And it's pretty full on. You're like, oh man. But I feel so stupid. For some reason, when you were talking about film school, I was thinking like film photography, like a whole school based around film photography.
I wish, man. That would be sick. And you're like
talking about responsibility, and I'm like, is he talking about like the responsibility of taking photos and making sure that like this whole time? And then you like start talking. I was like, why didn't I? I was like, I've done stuff like that. I was like, why did my brain just full shut down?
I mean, we did spend the first like quarter of this segment just talking about film. So the other film.
Just running. Yeah. That's all right.
Easy. I mean, there is a responsibility, I guess, when you're taking film photos.
That's what I was like, man, this is not. Oh, this is exactly not like this is nothing what I was thinking of at all. So when did you start dabbling in being creative? Like, has this been from when you were your parents creative people and you just they helped pushed you into it kind of thing?
Yeah, so I grew up in a family of musicians. So
perfect.
Yeah, dude, music is like the seed that plants like the big tree of creativity, I swear.
I reckon I would agree.
Yeah.
I think music, because it's been around forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I especially I think that it definitely it is like the foundation. And then everything that stems off that is based around music. Like dancing has music involved. Video creation has music involved.
Singing,
it's part of it. Like this podcast will have music involved.
Yep.
Like everything revolves around music.
Yeah, yeah.
Even business.
100%.
It can change, and music can change so many different moods.
Oh yeah.
It has so many different levels.
Yeah.
My friend and I were speaking about it. And we were just like, it is so crazy how much influence it can have on one particular scenario.
Oh man, dude, it is actually insane. Like that's what I am obsessed with music, and like it honestly is. It is like the thing that would. It's like the rudder of a boat, man. If like, it will steer your art to whatever way that you want it to go if you find the right piece of music, or like it could do it the wrong way. Like you could have the wrong music for the right kind of project and it might stuff the whole project. Like the music is so like important, and it's a must. Like
you have to, definitely. Perry, the last guest who was on the show, he has like this unorthodox way of making videos. He doesn't actually he makes the video based around the music. So he'll just think of a song and he'll be like, okay, and then everything about that video is based off that one track, not the other way around. Is that the way you do as well? Yeah.
That's how I drive my boat, man.
Yeah, right. So what is your go-to genre? Is there any specific? Do you like lo-fi house or?
I do enjoy lo-fi.
I feel like everyone's doing lo-fi now too, though.
Yeah, like it's just so good just to be able to chill out and just listen. Like it's a good like mind number that can just like let you reset or just kind of relax.
So many levels to it.
So many levels, man, and so many different like kind of genres of lo-fi in a way, like or so many different levels of lo-fi. Like, it's pretty insane. But
I'm like heavily invested in music.
Yeah, nice.
And coming from like a DJ background and stuff like that, electronic music specifically, I'm very heavily invested in.
Yeah. And
I find that lo-fi can change your mood like 3 times within the one track because there's so many different
exactly, man.
Especially with like chord progression. I don't know, people that don't really listen to music might not know this, but chord progression can do so much, and you can like different keys can change your mood.
Oh yeah.
And like you can make a whole track in one key, and that could just be forced to like a real sad mood, or like they'll do it in like C or something, it'll be like real happy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy when you start like looking into it and looking about the theory behind it. You're like, oh man, like it is.
Dude, melodies, like, oh man, like my brother's been starting to make music and he's like killing it at the moment. It's insane. And
DJ?
No, he's just been doing music production.
Nice.
So making his own beats. He's a guitarist, singer. And like him and I are very we're on the same page when it comes to like this music, kind of like this, our taste in music or like what we look for in a song. And yeah, like you said, like you can listen to a song and there's like a note they play or a melody that comes in and it just it hits you and like it makes you feel like something. And like for me, like sometimes I get so affected by it that like I'll just like sit there and like it'll play and like my mind will just run like a visual, just like a music video. And it'll just make it up.
Yeah.
And it's like it gives you like a foresight. Like you can almost like see stuff based off an emotion that this like one melody's been put into a song and it's just created this for you. And it's like, it was so funny. He was showing me some music the other day. that he's been producing, and he was like, I was like listening to the track and the beat, and then I just like had this, I don't know, like I had this feeling, like I was like, oh, like I hope this type of a melody is put in like here. And it was exactly like what I was looking for, like in that song, like the way he'd made the song, and then he would like add in like these little vocal like background
like
things
sample,
and
like
sample stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like almost every single thing he put in there, I was like wanting that to be in there, just like for the added emotion and the ride that it would take you on. And it was there. And I'm just like, dude, like,
isn't it crazy when you're listening to a song?
Yeah.
And you maybe like 2 minutes in, and then all of a sudden this random sound just comes out and it just grabs your attention.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, and then you're like, oh, now I'm saying like too much, but you kind of like yearn for that sound to come back.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there, you're waiting like intently, just going, okay, like really listening.
Yeah.
Trying to like push the other melodies to either side, because you're just waiting for this sound to like come back and hit you. You're like, yeah, and then when it comes through, you're so excited about it. You're like, yes, and then it's always the case that when you find a song like that, you then go tell your friends about it.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is the bit. And then they never get it.
Oh, dude.
I mean, you should have been there, bro. You should have been there.
Oh, man. I've had that happen with so many songs. Even when I'm showing my brother, I'm like, oh, man, like, you got to listen to this song. Like, there's this part in it, and it just hits me so hard. And he'll listen to it. He's like, oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, cool.
They never
right.
never understand.
But it's like, I guess it's a personal thing, because it's like, you obviously react emotionally and differently to everyone else. Like, different songs can make people cry, and then you'll listen to it and you'll be like, yeah, it's a nice song, or it's a sad song, but it doesn't make me cry.
I definitely have this. It's not a theory. It probably has been proven, but the sound sonic of a song. So the sound of the sample and stuff like that triggers something in your brain, which then makes you feel that, or either gives you that dopamine hit or makes you feel sad. And this is probably a roundabout way of saying music makes you feel stuff. But
yeah.
Because I really think about it, I was like, oh, there must be. Because like we were talking about, like when you show this song to your brother or vice versa, that sound sonic doesn't touch, like it doesn't register in his brain the same way it registers in your brain. So he's not feeling, he's just like, oh yeah, that's pretty mad. But then he might listen to a song and that sounds like will hit him and he's like, oh, like, but it doesn't. My theory is like maybe certain sounds don't register in people's brains the same way. Or the other theory is, which probably makes way more sense than what I just tried to describe, is that the mood that you were in when you listen to the song is not the mood that they are in when they're listening to the song.
Exactly.
Which is probably the better way of
I think
the whole round of it.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think that's the winner, man.
You're like, yeah, all right, I like what you're doing there, Jesse, but let's just bring it back to something real simple. But yeah, that's what I reckon.
No, definitely, man. Your mood like will always, your mentality will always drive how you experience things. Because like, if you think about it, it's like your mentality is like a filter of how you see. And so like this comes into creativity. This comes into your emotional, like side to music, like we're just talking about, comes into so many things. And it's like, if whatever mood you're in at the time it will affect the way you hear that song. And there are some songs for me that's like, I'll be in a certain mood, say I'll be in like a really emotional mood and I'm just feeling down. And then there's like that one song that's just like, it hits you in a way where you're just like, oh my gosh, like it's like, I want that again. And it's like, it sucks because you know how like you find that song and then you just listen to it on repeat. Yeah. And then like a week later, like it just doesn't hit the same. And you're just like, that's the thing I hate. It's like an overdose on a song because it gives you that feeling. Then I have to go find another song that fulfills that. It's like,
So now that with your parents, because they're obviously musicians, when you were growing up, did they teach you instruments? Or how do you feel like what was your childhood growing up? Was it they were constantly around studios and you were in studios, they were at gigs, so you were at the gigs?
Yeah, so my parents, they basically have always, since they were probably like around my age, really, they have been playing music. So dad was a guitarist and a singer. Mum became a singer as well. Mum and dad used to be in a band that like traveled around the world, and they got pretty big.
Really?
I don't remember. I don't even know what the name is. Like,
ABBA.
but
No.
yeah, if only. But yeah, I remember like they've told me heaps of crazy stuff. They've done a lot of stuff. But yeah, like mum and dad have always been musical. Dad's there's always been a guitar. There's always been a guitar in our family. And dad would play all the time. So like when I was younger, like mum always knew. She was like, she literally told me this the other day. We were talking about it, and she was like, because I'm a drummer, by the way. I didn't state that.
So we're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
We're gonna get to your 5 questions.
Yeah,
I mean 5 fun facts.
5 fun facts. All right.
It stumps everyone.
I just gave a spoiler. Damn.
No, it's all right.
But yeah, like there's always been music in my house. And yeah, my parents, mum's always singing, and dad was always playing guitar. And same with my brother. Like my brother got into guitar. I got into guitar at one stage. And yeah, like we've just always had that orientation around our home. And a lot of our friends are like-minded. So yeah, it's always been there. And I think that, yeah, like I got into a point in my life when I was around like 16 where I started to experiment with music, because I was always just listening to the same stuff. Like I honestly didn't grow up listening to the radio like much. Like,
did they have a lot of records and?
No, we had CDs and stuff like that, but I didn't really listen to mainstream music. Like,
do you listen to metal?
Yeah, so much, man. So much.
Who's your favorite band?
Oh, that is the hardest question. I have like a top 3, but at the moment, I'd probably say my top 3. There's an upcoming band called Sleep Token. They've been out. They're insane. They're an enigma. I've never heard anything like them. And they're becoming this crazy big band at the moment. They started from just like nothing like 2 years ago, and now they're just like shooting up.
That's so cool.
And I just happened to stumble across them. Thank you, Spotify Weekly, for just like coming in, just chucked one of their songs in. I was like, this song's sick. It got me in the feels.
It got you in the feels.
I was like, oh, I'm saving that one for later. And then I had to look at their other songs, and I was like, okay, these are cool. And they just like released one song, and I was like, as like an album, and I'm like, what the heck? And it was like a month later, they released the same song, but then another song in an album. And they kept doing this thing where like every month they would release the same song with like a new song added, until like they created this massive album, and then it just exploded and everyone just went crazy.
That's so good.
Great band. So there's another band called Darko US. They're like a duet. The vocalist from a band called Chelsea Grin. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Grin. Yep.
The vocalist from their partner with a guy called his name's Baby J, and he's like a producer, like music producer, really talented drummer and guitarist.
That's cool.
And so they just like paired up over COVID and just made some like bangers, super heavy, like brutal stuff. Like it's hard. It's what I listen to when I go to the gym, because it just like
gets you going.
Oh man, it hits me different every single time. And then like my OG band that I got into, first official metal band,
Can
North
I guess?
Lane.
Oh,
Were you gonna say?
Not gonna say North Lane.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say Slipknot. I feel like everyone dives into Slipknot first.
Slipknot was who I started. Okay, no, I'll take that back. Actually,
here we go.
No, North Lane was my first band.
Yep.
But Slipknot was like what I was gonna wear a Slipknot shirt here today.
They're the ultimate.
It's like the OG, man. And I draw so much inspiration with drumming and with my art style and a lot of different things from Slipknot. I love them so much.
Yeah, their creative outlook is insane.
Yeah, and a lot of people look at them and they just be like, nah, not gonna even try. Like their aesthetic is hectic.
For a band that has, when they came out and the year that they came out in, it wasn't really accepted to be that outlandish.
Nah, man, no way.
And everyone was like, oh yeah, they're gonna come and go.
Yeah.
And now they're still been around for like 20 years or however long they've been around. And they just keep getting better and better.
Still relevant.
They just don't. They're like one of those bands that just have stayed on the pulse.
Yeah.
And they constantly change their mask and their look.
I love it. Yeah.
And their music is just insane.
Dude.
It's so technical.
And like
good.
I go back to their first albums, man. Like I'm in love with like old school Slipknot, because I think like that was like, even though I love where they're at now, like obviously they're getting older now, so like you could see like I've watched so much content on Slipknot. It's insane, like about all their backstories, what happened between them, why they changed their masks, so much. But you can like see like old footage of like their first kind of gigs in like Iowa and everything like that, and they've got their original masks. They're all young, they're super energetic, and it's like they're like you watch other bands and live performances, and I've never seen a band carry like an atmosphere like Slipknot do. Like what they would carry was like, it's something that you're just like, whoa.
There's 9 people on the stage constantly.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's more now. I think they got one more, that DJ guy they haven't unveiled his mask.
Oh, that's one of the new vocal, like secondhand vocalist, and I think he does like percussion or something, because Sid's the DJ, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's right.
Such a sick band. Love them. I just kind of went on a little bit of a spill there. Just vomited up.
Do you use metal in your videos?
Yes, yeah. I like to make visualizers to them, because I find that like metal music videos are like, well, some of them are super creative, and like I find that like I hate pop music, man. Like it's just
a big call.
I know. It's like
people are gonna be sitting here going, yeah. Well, yeah, what? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel
you
like
don't listen to Ocean Alley?
Yeah, I feel like you can't say hate is a very strong word. Whereas if you say you dislike them, I'm not saying you can say whatever you want, but I got pulled up for it one time going, I was like, I fucking hate this.
Yeah.
Like, well, champ, you need to say that you dislike them, because if you say you hate them, it's apparently it's too strong. So I was like,
okay, that might be a bit strong.
Because I'm sure if Justin Bieber came on the radio, you'd probably want to bob your head to him. So don't lie.
Okay, I don't. Yeah, okay. All right, I just like, I'm not gonna say it. I don't hate Justin Bieber. I'm a hypocrite for saying that I hate pop music now, but
just full called it.
Yeah, I just got called out.
Anyway, it's all
no. Like I think that I don't know. I just don't. I'm not a fan of just like mainstream stuff.
And that's fine.
And like that's such a douche thing for me to say, because I'm just like, I'm such a hipster with music. But
it's not really. It's just not what you're into.
Yeah,
and that's
everyone has their taste.
Everyone has their taste.
Exactly.
Like I don't listen to a lot of pop music either. I don't listen to mainstream radio.
Yeah,
it's not because I think I'm cooler than everyone else. It's just not my.
It's just
the environments that I grew up in.
Yeah,
that's like at the end of the day, you're a product of your environment.
Exactly.
And if that's the environment you grew up in, that's what you like.
100%.
Doesn't mean you can't. Like the occasional pop song, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. Like some Justin Bieber songs, I'm like, it's pretty sick.
They do go hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with your videos, have you been on the coast? Have you utilized metal music in those videos?
I find like
you do. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Not to cut you off, but because you do take photos of live shows.
Yeah, I have done a few. Yeah, I guess like when it comes to that kind of stuff, the Sunshine Coast doesn't have much of a heavy scene, which I've kind of branched out more into like Brisbane, and I haven't actually been to Melbourne yet, but I really want to go. But Brisbane mainly, they have a much bigger metal scene or heavier scene. I know there's like a bit of a scene here in Nambour, but
right. I don't know anything about the metal scene on the Sunshine Coast at all.
Exactly, like that's what it's like.
Although I think 11 Dive Bar,
I was about to bring
I'm
that
gonna
up.
shout them out because
big time.
I feel like they're making waves, in my opinion.
Huge, man.
I think having the balls to create a bar in a small location like the Sunshine Coast takes like a lot of courage, and they're, from what I've seen, they're all about supporting local, like the local bands and stuff like that, and I think that's amazing.
Good.
I'd love to get them on the show and actually speak to them about it.
Yeah, they're rad guys. I've been there so many times, and I'm like, it's just good to have like a bar that's dedicated to an alternative piece of music that's like not surf rock. Like that's the thing that's like with like the coast, it's just like it's all surf rock. Like you go to every venue and it's like that's all that's playing, and I was like, I don't hate surf rock. Like there's a part of me that I'll be like, cool, like I'll have a listen here and there. I'll see it live. I won't go out of my way to listen to it like normally, but it was cool that like there's a bar that's dedicated to like a heavier scene, and it's kind of like brought all the hermits out of the coast just to like have a place where they feel like they can belong.
Yeah.
And they're being supported too. I think it's so important, man.
It's 100% important.
Yeah.
Have you done any photography work for them?
I haven't, no. Could be cool to do, so like, I haven't really talked to them about it, but
hit them up.
Yeah.
There's one photo on your Instagram I want to get a bit more context over, because the black and white photo where you took of the lady, I think she's in the laundromat or she's in a restaurant. Oh, I'm gonna get it up.
Let's see.
Get it up, because it's like I want to know what the mood was when you shot that, because to me, looking at it and the way I interpreted it, is like this real, just like weary old lady who's just going about her business, like kind of tired of life. Where is it's in there.
In the laundromat. Is it this one?
No. Oh, give us the I'll find it for you.
Go through.
But yeah, I just remember looking at it and I was so just taken back by it. Where is it? Just so, no, I'm not going to be able to find it, I betcha.
Is it a black and white one?
I think it was a black and white one.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, why can't I find it? Oh no. Wait, no.
Probably further. I think I know the one you're talking about. Is it like a side profile of her?
Yeah, side profile of her.
I'll find it for you.
Perfect.
This one?
No. She's in a building. It's like, anyway. It's just a really cool photo. It could be a dude, but it just, to me, that captures like the ultimate, like street photography.
Right.
And I just when we can find it, I just want to get a bit of context on what you thought when you took that photo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get this up.
Did you save it?
No, I should.
Was it that one?
Yeah, that's it there. Yeah, sorry. She's in a library.
Yeah, library.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so I went to Japan 2019, end of 2019 for my birthday actually.
Yeah.
And I went nuts on film cameras because they have so much over there.
What did you shoot on?
I shot on a Olympus XA3, which is this dope 80s camera. It's a little point and shoot.
Yeah.
Super sharp lens, has a flash. It's rad. So I went hunting all over the different film camera stores in Japan until I found it, and then I just when I was in Japan, I had the Bruce Gilden attitude, and I was like, no one knows me here. I'm in a completely foreign country. Everyone's super chill, and I have no chill when it comes to photos. I'm gonna make the most of this trip. So I was like, I'm just gonna go and just take photos of everyone. Still be respectful.
Yeah. What's your style when you take photos on the street?
Yeah, when I started doing the more hectic street photography stuff, getting up in people's faces, I was literally just in Brisbane and the CBD, and I would just walk up to people and just be walk past them and just flick my camera up, bang, walk past. Or I'd pretend I'd take a photo of them and then I'd look past them, or look on the other way, I was taking a photo of something else, and then they'd just be like, oh, I wasn't taking a photo.
Do you know Joe Gear?
Joe Gear, yeah.
Have you seen the way he takes photos?
Yeah.
And he's he'll be walking, and then he kind of looks, and then kind of looks away, and then will point the camera off to the side profile and take a photo of him.
Yeah.
Oh man, that guy's got so much balls.
Dude,
just to be doing. So do you do that? Do you stuff like that?
Yeah. That's the kind of technique that a lot of the greats would in documentaries of how they shoot would be this is what I do. And also I just watched a ton of YouTube videos and how to kind of get away or deal with how scary it is to actually kind of be a bit more upfront.
Do you know what that style's called? Because I don't understand it.
I don't think it's a style. It's just more of a technique that you use when you're in street photography. Or are you talking about the style of that?
Yeah, just like when you're walking up to someone, kind of redirecting their attention so they don't think that their photo's been taken.
It's just playing a mind game with them, man. It's you got to have the balls to do it, and you just got to expect if they're gonna your average person isn't gonna be ultra aggressive. They're gonna just be oh, did you take a photo of me? Or they're just gonna be hey, can you not? Or I don't know, something else. So it's gonna be super rare for some dude to come up to you and punch you in the face or throw your camera on the ground, especially in Australia, unless it's some dude who's drugged or something.
I've seen it done. I've seen some guy's camera get destroyed once, just once on YouTube, and it was a proper TLR.
Oh man,
and
that's
he
no good.
Just proper threw it on the ground and just shattered into pieces and just walked off.
This is why you have
I was
like camera strapped.
Man, I was like, that's brutal.
Yeah, that's hectic, man. Yeah, like I was always scared of that happening, but also like there's just gonna be a point where you're just like not really afraid of what people think. Like I just got past the stage of being like, okay, like it's an awkward thing to do, but like what result am I gonna get if I don't do it? And it's just gonna be cliche street photography. So I was like, how do I just change things up? I'm just gonna watch Bruce Gilden, psych myself up, and then I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do it. And like literally in between my uni breaks, like I would have like a 3-4 hour break in between classes some days. And I would grab my film camera after class, go straight to the CBD and just stand there and just watch people, like people watching. That's literally what I do.
That feeling when you watched Bruce Gilden and you were psyching yourself up.
Yep.
Do you remember how you felt? Do you remember, like what I'm trying to get about is the whole point. I say this in every podcast, and I'm just going to keep saying it till it drills home to everyone watching. Like the whole point of this podcast is to speak about this feeling that we're about to talk about. Is when you're feeling super elevated, you're operating on a higher frequency, feeling really inspired to get out there, and you're like, nothing fucking matters. Like I'm going to get out there and I'm going to go chase my goal.
Yeah.
Do you remember feeling like you were operating on that high frequency after you watched that, and you're like, nah, fuck it, whatever happens. I'm just going to get out there and take that first photo?
Yeah, I remember my anxiety levels being through the roof. Because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen right now. Like, am I going to take a photo? I'm going to get attacked straight away. And yeah, I remember just being at a point. It's like adrenaline. And you just need to know how to kind of, like harness that. And the psych, I really had to psych myself because I was like, I'm not like that kind of an extroverted. Like I'm extroverted, but I'm a mix of intro extra. So I find like that's not something I would go out of my way to do on average, but it was like just doing it consistently brings up the courage to be able to just do it comfortably.
Do you have a shot of that first photo that you took? Do you remember the first photo that you when you were out there? Is it, if it's not on Instagram, can you send it to me?
I have it like archived or something.
Because I'll put it up on the video and we'll have a look at it. Because what do you think of that first photo?
I remember like there was a lot of hit and miss photos because I was still trying. I was using a different camera at the time, so I was using Was
it digital or was it a film?
No, it was a film camera.
Okay.
It was a Canonette camera, so it's like one of the old Canon cameras. It was like one of the better ones because I did a lot of research on cameras before I bought my camera, and it was like one of the better ones. Like it was a rangefinder, so with the rangefinders you have to literally find your range of what you're going to take a photo within, otherwise it'll be out of focus. So I had to teach myself that how to get like 1.2 meters away from someone and shoot them in a split second to get the exact moment I wanted without it being out of focus.
Yeah.
And yeah, I found like it took a while to get used to the feeling of just being like...
Pretty daunting to be that close to someone, take a photo of them, hope like fuck that they don't turn around and have a crack.
Well, I would literally get up in people's faces sometimes. And like the photos are sick. Like I've got this one of this old lady when I was in Japan. My mates hate me for it because I just like walked past her and was like so close, like probably halfway and just like bang. And it made a sick shot. Like I rate it. Where are we? Oh, and then there was one of a guy like passed out in an alleyway.
So
that was pretty funny.
I'll chuck all these up on the...
Oh no.
Yeah, she does not look impressed.
Yeah, but it was like, I rate the shot.
I really, really like your street photography. I think it predicts, what am I talking about? It depicts exactly the kind of style that I like when I look at photos. It's like just raw, actually in the moment, exactly what everyday people see when they're walking about their business. That's why I loved Sydney so much, because it was, you could just sit there and people watch. I've done a bit of street photography, but I've never had the balls to like do that. I get too nervous that someone's gonna like just clip me up.
Yeah. You just gotta do it, man. Like that. I think that the philosophy of just doing it is like, I don't want to. No shout out to Nike, but the philosophy of just doing it is, are we going to get sued? Like, what's going to happen?
That's it. This is the end of the podcast. Everything's coming down
now. Basically, like, the philosophy of just doing it, regardless of how you feel, is what's going to carry you through your creative, like, your creative outings, rather. I find this falls into so many different things. So that was one thing that I found was really hard. And it was like, if I didn't just make the leap of like, take the leap of faith and do it, then like, I'm not going to get what I want if I don't take the risk. And it was worth the risk because then I got photos that people like you just have a look at one day and be like, hey, I like your stuff. Want to come on my podcast? I'm like, sick. Like, I thought my stuff was like average, like, and people are getting like inspired by it and are like, cool, I like your style. Like, it feels good to be like, to have your work appreciated because like, you know, the creative minds, like we're so self-deprecating, you know, like we're so harsh on ourselves when it comes to
I'm brutal
our
on
own
myself.
work. Yeah.
I'm so bad.
I was watching one of the other podcasts and you were talking about your inner voice and I'm like, oh man, I know that feeling.
My inner monologue just, it has a field day with me all the time. But I just persevere, and that's, like you said, we're not shouting out the Nike, but the just doing it philosophy is exactly that. It's just giving it a crack. And I spoke about this on my last podcast. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. And there's cliche, like that's so cliche. And I was like, yeah, righto. But seriously, if you just start, just start. Give yourself a month. Yeah. Give yourself 2 weeks. Yeah. Give yourself 1 week. It doesn't matter because what you're gonna achieve in that 1 week is gonna change your life. Yep. For the next
100% agree.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And opportunities will open as soon as you start, and you'll be surprised at how much you enjoy hard work.
Exactly, man.
And it might, I don't know, people don't start things for multiple different reasons. Yeah. But if we're talking specifically about hard work, you would be surprised at how much you enjoy working hard when you love that project. Yeah. And even if you change your mind in a month, it doesn't matter because what you just learnt in that month is like that's the pinnacle of working hard. Like
exactly, man.
All those skills you just learned, all that knowledge you just gained, all those people you met, everything. It's like and all you had to do was start. That's
you had to make one step.
Just one step. Yeah. I make my bed every morning. Yep. Nice. I just started doing, like, it sounds stupid. Yep. And I started doing it. I just listened to something one day and I was like, make your bed. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I used to make my bed when I was a kid. Yeah, yeah. And I just do it without fail. Yep. And it's not, I don't even think it's necessarily to do anything else, but I literally just make my bed and I'm like, no, I have to do it. And it's like those small goals that set you up for the big goal.
Big time, man.
Don't ever stress about the end. Don't ever stress about like the end big goal. Like it's manifest that in your head. Yep. And then you focus on the small goals and they will get you to the big goal.
What I found was my biggest challenge in creativity and hitting goals was that I would set all these massive goals and then be like, cool, I have a year to do them. And then that'll put so much pressure on me because when I got to like halfway through the year and I hadn't even kicked like the first 2 yet, I was like, I would get so much guilt from like not doing that because the setting such big goals and not making a plan for them or not making a step-by-step for them, they look like a mountain and you're trying to climb that mountain. And that's so hard to make a start when you're like, how do I start that? And something I watched this year is literally day one, January 1st. I watched this video and I forgot who it's by. It's this bald guy. He speaks great wisdom.
David Goggins.
I wish. I know that guy. And he's that guy is
I love him. He's the best.
Yes. Yeah. If you haven't watched David Goggins or listen to him, you have to have a listen.
I think I've spoken about him every podcast.
Yeah, maybe. Good.
I just plug him
That's the just do it mentality at like on the steroids. Biggest steroids. Yeah. But yeah, so like I watched this video and basically it was like set yourself some big goals for a year. But if you're wanting to achieve these goals, what you need to do is you need to set one of those big goals up, give yourself a time frame and be like, forget about the other goals, just stick to one big goal and then go, cool, what am I going to do to get to this goal? Make those steps and then give yourself, say, a month and then, or 6 months. It depends on what you need to do. You don't have to complete all your goals, but take these steps and just do this thing piece by piece until you get to that 6 month, mark where you've hit the goal. And then you'll realize and feel way more accomplished that you've done that. and it's not going to feel like it's such a big mountain. And that's what I've kind of implemented into my life this year, because I was getting stuck just being like, I'm going to do this and this and this, and then being like, I don't know how to do any of these things, and I'm so scared to start because like I don't know how to start. And there's a point in that with the just do it mentality where like there's been so many times where like I've just gone blank creatively, had no drive, been like I've got nothing. Like what do I do? And then there was this one time where I was just like, I've got no inspiration. I don't know where to draw inspiration from right now. I've listened to music. I can't do anything. And then I was just like, I'm just going to do something random. Just do something completely random. I used to paint when I was a kid. Yeah. And like I painted for like years and years, got really good at it. And
good at it?
Yeah.
I was a professional.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. Yeah.
I won the odd comp though. Like I actually got pretty decent at
That's
it.
sick.
And I just gave it up. I was just like, I don't know why. I just like wanted to step into film and photography, and I just stopped painting. And I haven't painted for like 7 or 8 years now.
What style of painting was it?
Oh, it was just like acrylic painting. I'll just paint all kinds of things.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was
That's
heaps
so cool.
of fun. Like had a great teacher, like went to art classes weekly. It was sweet. But yeah, I just gave it up. Like I didn't enjoy it as much or understand it as much. Like I was like a 16-year-old kid who wanted instant gratification, and I had to spend like, like 4 weeks painting a picture because I only had an hour class once a week. So like the learning the process and understanding the process of painting was like just not there for me. And so I just eventually, after like, I think I did it for like 5 or 6 years of just being like doing it, hating it most of the time. But then when I got the final product, I was like, this is sick. I want to do it again. And then I'll do it and hate it. Giving that up and then not doing it for like 7 years. And then I was just like, I have nothing to do. I have no drive. What am I going to do? I'm just going to paint something like out of random. I was like, I'm just going to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't feel like doing it. I'm just going to do it. Went out, bought an easel, bought a canvas, bought some paints, bought some oil paints. Never painted with oils before.
It looks cool. I know a person who does it.
Looks very cool.
And she does some really cool stuff.
Yeah. Oil paint it's a very hard medium to learn from what you're told. And yeah, it's definitely very different from acrylic, but I just grabbed some oil paints and I was like, cool, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to put on music, and I'm just going to paint. And I did that, and I ended up painting this little painting for like, I spent like 4.5, 5 hours just like painting, and I got so into it. And I was like, it was like it just blew up this thing in the back of my mind that was like, oh yeah, you like painting. Like,
that's so good.
But now I'm at an age and an understanding where like I've spent all this time filmmaking and taking photos and understanding the value of the process when it comes to anything creative, that now it's like you look at painting and I'm like, wow, this is just another artistic visual medium where you got to enjoy the process. And when you do that, you get to the final, destination, and you're like, sweet, I'm happy with this.
That's so good. I'm so glad you said that in that, like that last little bit, because that's exactly it. It's like you strive for something. And that's what I was trying to say before. It doesn't matter if you do it for a week or a month and you get over it, because that it might open up something completely different.
Exactly.
And you also build like good foundations and healthy habits.
Yep.
And your creative mind will be working like the muscle that it is, and then you just never know.
Well, that's the thing, like that, because I did that, like all my ideas and my creativity and my
just started
coming back.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what like anyone who's struggling with like just mental blank or creative blank, like the best thing you can do is force yourself to do something, even though you don't feel like it. When it comes to motivation is not a thing that what we do is we wait for motivation to come.
Motivation is temporary.
100%. And I know you said this on the other podcast. I know. And it is very temporary.
Yeah.
But motivation isn't a thing that you should wait on, because it rarely pokes its head out. Especially if you're stuck in work and you're hating your job and you're tired. You don't want to, like go home and do something that's going to, require more brain cells to try and make something creative. And like, regardless of the fact of how you feel, like just forcing yourself to do that will completely change the game, because even though it's the first step that you're really not wanting to do, it's like the getting up out of bed moment where you're just like laying there, you're like, should I just sleep in for an hour or should I just get up and just start my day? And if you just get up and start your day, you're like, oh, sweet, I just got all this time out of my day, where if I had have stayed and laid in bed, I would have just wasted like 2 hours scrolling through Instagram. And the thing is with motivation shouldn't be a thing that you rely on to just appear. It's something that you have to make.
Yeah, be your own inspiration. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think like whatever you want to do, like inspiration, motivation, like I think you should definitely inspire yourself a lot. Look for different sources of inspiration. Look for mentors. Look for, but when it comes to motivation, like if you just sit there waiting for it day in, day out, that, I'm too tired. It'll come tomorrow. It's not going to come.
It never comes.
Exactly. And then you find yourself 6 months down the track, you've completed nothing and you're feeling, useless, when you could have spent that 6 months forcing yourself to just do something, pick up a camera, go for a drive, take some photos, pick up a paintbrush, paint a picture, and then you find yourself by doing that and implementing the action of just like pushing yourself past the point of like resistance. It's the resistance you feel, like the slight anxiety. Once you push yourself past that, you set yourself off. And then the resistance becomes weaker and weaker until it's just like you'll just be flowing. You'll be waking up in the middle of the night thinking about things.
Can you give an example of how you've implemented, like, because it's all well and good for us to sit here and be like, you don't do all this shit, but I like to bring it back to the person, because I don't want to talk about myself, so that'd be weird. This is actually just a podcast about me. No, can you give an example so people that are listening can be like, oh, okay, I see, and maybe go into a bit of detail about how you, like, your methodology of how you did it, and what steps you took.
So, for example, this is like the other day, right? So it's been like I think towards the end of last year, I'd probably say like September through to December, I was literally had a creative blank. I was busy at work, had not much time, very tired. And so I just had no drive to do anything. And I was like freaking out because I'm like, this year's almost over and I haven't done anything creative for like the last like 2, 3, 4 months even. Like just anything. Like all I've done is work. And so I was like, what am I going to do? Like I need to do something. I don't feel like doing anything. And I was like, what I do is when I'm on YouTube and things like that, I save videos into a playlist it's just called ideas. And anytime I see a creative music video, like a tutorial video on how to do something cool, how to make something that I find that I could potentially drive interest or motivation or inspiration from in the future, I'll save it to this playlist. Same thing goes with Instagram, Pinterest. Anytime I see stuff, I save it to a folder. And so I was just like, cool, like, what am I going to do? Haven't done anything in ages. At the start of last year, I went over to my mate's place and I watched a music video of a band, one of my favorite bands called Loathe. They did a song called New Faces in the Dark, and their music video is like insane. It's by this really cool director. His name's Zach Pinchin, and he makes all of his music videos just wild. They're so abstract and so well done. But I had a look at his video and I was like, how does he do this? Like, I break down these music videos going like, what's he using? What effects is he using? How's he shooting this? And I saved that music video and I was like, one day I want to like try and create an effect that's similar to one of the effects in this music video. So I told my mate about it, who I went to film school with. He shoots music videos all the time. He's really talented. Shout out to Lawson Cross.
Come on the show.
Yeah, come on the show.
You're on.
And he'd be a very interesting person to talk to. But yeah, so I was with him and we started shooting stuff together all the time. And I was like, I just really want to shoot this kind of like scene, that's kind of like similar from this music video, and I want to make it my own, but I want to try and implement some techniques just like make them up to see if I can recreate this effect, and potentially get a cool result so that I could use it for future music videos. And he's like, yeah, sweet, let's do it. So we just jumped into his garage, shot all this material, played around with different ideas. And then I was like, yeah, sick. Like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to edit this. And then I went home and I didn't look at the footage for an entire year. Left it there, lost all my motivation to edit, lost everything. And I was just like, don't feel like it. 6 months went by, looked back, nope, still don't feel like it. Lawson's hit me up. He's like, hey man, like, do you know what happened to that footage? Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, like I still got it. I'll send it to you. And I just like lost all motivation. I was like, nah. Anyway, I'm just like at this stage at the start of this year where I'm just like, this year, like I need to implement my creativity and get past that resistance and just force myself. And I did that quite a few times last year, and it was great, but I stopped making it consistent, which is why I fell back.
Yeah.
And consistency is a big thing. But what happened was, I got to, I think it was 2nd of January, and I was just like looking through all my ideas, and I was like looking through this playlist, and I was like, oh, that music video, I'm going to go watch it again. So I watched it, and I was like, yes, I remember. And then I went through like my computer files and found all of our footage, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just like, I don't feel like editing right now. I haven't edited a video in like months, but I'm just going to do it because like I'm not going to ride, the next 2 months and do nothing. And so I just grabbed all this footage, chucked it in, chucked on some music, lit a good smelly candle that really got me in the mood.
You gotta do what you gotta do,
I had,
whatever it is.
Get my lights on, like I got this like LED strip, just make it a vibe. And I was just like, I need to just do everything I can right now to put myself in this and just fully immerse myself. And I spent like the entire day just editing, and I made this rad little I think it's like a minute clip, but I achieved exactly what I wanted to achieve, even though it was a year later, by just forcing myself to do it. And then after I did that, it just like blew up all these ideas in my head. I was like, sweet, like now I've got some direction, I've got some motivation, but I know it's going to be fleeting. I know it's going to eventually disappear. So what I need to do is I need to set myself goals now and be like, this is what I'm going to do while I'm motivated. So when I lose that motivation, I can go back to it and go, okay, this is like a step that's not too hard and the resistance level is low. So that now I can go, bang, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And then I'm not going to have to hit those big stakes of resilience mentally, so that I can just keep this flow of creativity. Yeah. That's my example.
That's exactly. So with writing that stuff down, is that how recent? This is just the start of the year, yeah?
Yeah, really recent.
Yeah. So what have you done in the last week about to work towards finishing off that video?
So like that video as its own, that was just an idea that I wanted to make that I branched off that to use as reference to be able to put together in like a little show reel, so that I can show people like when I'm pitching to bands, oh, like we're going to make like let's make a music video. What kind of things were you looking for? Or what kind of aesthetics? What I'm wanting to do is, my goal with this was to make little clips of like ideas I've had and techniques and things like that, put them together to be able to show people like a mood board of things I can do for them that also like can give like really cool ideas or kind of branch off into other things. So what I did was, one step I took that I was like, okay, I need some more gear, because in order for me to take my next step into shooting more stuff, I need like just some better gear. So I went out and I got my tax return back. I did it so late. I should be in prison.
I only did mine last night.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So don't stress.
The cops are arriving soon. Like.
Yeah, I'm actually about to get deported.
Yeah, sounds good. But yeah, like I got my tax return back and I was like, sweet, that's a bit of money I can just like spend. And so I ended up buying myself a really nice new lens and a really good like DJI gimbal for my camera, because I had a gimbal and it was just like, yeah, no good.
Because you work full time, and so these are all side projects that you're eventually going to make like full-time employment?
Yeah, so that's my plan. I think like I'm not working full-time at the moment. I'm just like, I'm working like more like part-time hours. Okay, but so like I get the odd like 2-3 days sometimes a week to be able to just do whatever stuff I want. Yeah. Yep. So basically I'm going to try, my goal is to try and build my way up with creative projects and like with different bands and different companies and stuff like that, and get a good workflow happening so that I can like cut back my hours at my other job and focus on you know, what I love doing, which pays so much better as well.
Yeah.
And so that's like my big goal this year is to try and maneuver my lifestyle from this to what I love so that I get a bit more, you know, like just a bit more drive and a bit more, I don't know, like
fulfillment.
That's the word I was looking for. I want a bit more of life fulfillment with what I want to do, and I want to set myself up a bit more.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's mad. So what steps have you set in place for the end of the year to get yourself to that?
For the end of this year?
Yeah, so for me, for example, right, I write down certain goals.
Yeah.
Or I write down, so the way, like my process, my creative process and how I do things is I'll write, not all the time, by the way, I'm pretty bad, I need to get better at this, but I write down small goals.
Yeah.
And then I try to get them done within the week or within the month.
Right.
Sweet. And then I have even smaller goals. So I have the big goal for me is to have the biggest podcast on the Sunshine Coast by the end of this year, and I'll keep saying it every single episode till it happens.
Dude, manifest that.
Manifest it. And then, that's right, Danny knows. And then that's the big goal. So then my month goals at this stage is working behind the scenes on branding, networking and just stuff like that.
Yep.
And then my small goals is each week is to record an episode.
Sweet.
And then that's how I kind of work. Like this is how I run it.
Yep.
So what is your process on how you do things? Because there's heaps of people out there. There's probably heaps of young kids that will either, if they're not listening already, they probably might eventually listen, or even older people. And they might be looking for a bit of inspiration on how to manage that and how they're going to do it. So is there anything that you do?
I think you're pretty bang on with what you're doing. Like that's very similar to the format that I'm kind of following as well. It's just making your goals bite size. That's the thing that because we live in a world today where it's like where everyone's just taking the path of least resistance, and it can be very, very hard to stay consistent when it comes to these things. So I think that setting yourself, I literally write a list. I'll go, this is my 2022 goals. And I'll make a little tree, and I go let's say I want to make this, this year, my ultimate goal, for example, is to move my lifestyle from working retail and having a bit of time to do creative stuff to moving it all mainly over to creative stuff and using that as a 1 day a week, part-time that gives me discounts at work kind of thing.
You've heard it here first, everyone. Yeah. You said it now. It's out in the open.
I hope my boss isn't
there's
listening.
3 people here, and Dan's heard it. So now
it's happening. It's going to happen, yeah.
I was just waiting for that. I was like, get
you guys
it all
are my
out.
accountability partners.
Like, yeah, for sure, man. I'll 100% hit you up.
Follow me up, honestly. Please do.
I follow everyone.
Yeah.
If they say something like this, I'm on them.
All right. That gives me more drive. That's another thing we need. We need accountability partners.
I was doing a mastermind, and I'll just give a quick example. And this girl, she was trying to get a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she had to do was go to the grocery store and buy groceries and meal prep and stuff, so she wasn't eating bad food.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're all sitting there. We're like, right, we're all going to chase you up. And I legit 100% chased her up for 2 days. I was like, have you done it? She's like, oh no, I'm going to be doing this. I'm like, no dramas. I'll send you a message next day. I was like, next day, bang, just hit her up. So I want people to, if you're out there and you're listening to this, find a friend and get them to be your accountability coach, because that could be the difference between you actually moving ahead super, super fast, or you just not even doing it at all.
100%.
If that's what it's going to be, then get out there, guys, and just do it, because
definitely.
It's so good.
It's like what having a PT is all about. It's like they literally keep you accountable to eating what you need to eat and exercising the way you need to exercise. And that's why surrounding yourself with like-minded people when it comes to the creative industry is super important, because it is so hard to get stuff done by yourself. That's what I found is the hardest on the coast for me. It's like I know some creative people, but a lot of my friendship circles aren't driven in the way I'm driven, or aren't into the same kind of things as I'm into. just to do with film and photography. Like, I don't know that many people on the coast really that like go out and just take stuff or would be happy to just spend a day shooting. And so
I do.
Well, let's sort out a day.
I know. I don't know a lot of people. I'm very similar to you, but the whole reason why this podcast exists is for that, because I'm trying to build a community of like-minded people.
Get people together.
And now that you're speaking about it, I wasn't even going to mention this, but I'm going to do it now anyway. I wasn't going to tell people about this until later on.
Cool.
Because I've been kind of thinking, like, working on it in the behind the scenes. But the one way that I'm going to get people to be in a community is I've created a Discord.
Sweet.
And I'm going to start adding people into it, and I'll put the link in this video, and I'll start. It's out there now, so I'm just going to start putting it out there.
Yeah.
And I'm creating a Discord.
Awesome.
I want every creative to jump in there and just network with each other, support each other, be accountability buddies. I don't care what you do. I just want to keep this inspiration alive, and I just want people to really go out there and just don't fuck everything else. Just get out there and just literally do it. Just go. Like, man, you will feel amazing. And that is, there's no better feeling than operating on a higher frequency and really getting out there and just 100% chasing. And
just having a community of people that you feel like you belong to. That is so, like, feeling like you belong is like so detrimental when it comes to anything really. But like when it comes to your own passions and you're feeling like you belong in a group of people that are passionate about the same stuff you are, that is like the best feeling ever.
It's so good.
Man. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to join this Discord 100%. Discords are so underrated.
Oh, it's so underrated.
They're the best.
It's so cool.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, no, that's sick. I'm keen for that. That's a cool little.
So on your Instagram,
yes,
you put up a couple of posts about this 2022 thing.
Yep.
I don't know what it is because real mystique.
Yep.
But do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Or are you trying to like hold it under wraps and then you're gonna just blow it up?
No, like honestly, man, like it's just this is me trying to be accountable to myself, that's trying to be accountable to everyone else. Because like I was like I haven't used Instagram like posted to Instagram for like months and months, and because I was just like I wasn't creating anything, and I was just like. Yeah, I was like stuck in that ditch, like I was saying. And so I was like, what I'm going to do is I made a promise to myself at the start of the year just that this is the year that I, regardless of how I feel, I just do stuff. And I hit my goals and I achieve them. And so that's what I'm saying with my goal of being at the end of the year, moving my lifestyle over to a creative lifestyle where I'm doing what I love, I'm making money off what I love, and just like being able to connect with people like you and you know, have a community. I think that, like that's something that I'm wanting to try and use Instagram for. Like I wanting Instagram to be like, I don't use Instagram for personal reasons.
That's fine.
I just post my stuff to it because like there's too much of everyone else out there, you know. It's like I don't have a problem with people posting selfies or whatever. Like
I understand what you're saying.
But it's like I'm not someone that's just like, yeah, look at me. Like I just
creative outlet.
It's my creative outlet.
Yeah.
Like I don't care if you want to meet me. I'd rather talk to you in person than you try to figure out who I am through like a fake account.
That's why I like this. It's an open forum, and
exactly.
You can get to know someone like straight away. And it's the best. That's
it's
why
way
I love
more
it.
Unique and way more genuine.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Instagram for that with these upcoming posts. That's kind of I was just trying to tease like what is coming because I'm being like, okay, everyone, like I'm doing stuff. I'm here. And this is like the stuff I'm going to start. Like, I'm just going to start posting and I'm going to do this as a way, like, no, I'm not obviously telling everyone I am now, but this is
what is it?
This is
What's
my
coming?
reasoning. It's like, this is a way that I can stay consistent in creativity, stay consistent in putting in production, and also like, you know, give people like something cool that's a bit different, like to look at, because like Instagram's just the same stuff now.
What is it though? What is it that you're talking about?
I'm like what I'm wanting to do is just start getting really experimental with my creative art, like when it comes to the mediums I use, like the content I'm shooting.
Yeah.
Like I like my goal when I got out of film school now, like I went from being I'm going to be a director to being I'm going to shoot music videos, because music, as we were talking about at the start of the podcast, is something that I value so much and that is so detrimental to so many things. And when I listen to music, my brain just shows a real, like, I will make up an entire music video and it's like beautiful, and I'm just like, and then the song's over and I'm just like, I just saw like this whole movie in my head.
Yeah.
And now I need to make that. And it's like,
or like
sick. There'll be certain, like you're saying, there's like that one melody comes in and I just get this 10-second clip that just like hits the spot emotionally for me, visually, that suits and I'm like, I'm going to shoot that.
Oh,
and
man, I'm excited. This is so
good.
And
so what I'm wanting to do is like, with the New Faces in the Dark, I did a New Faces in the Dark edit. I don't know if I put it on my story or not. Oh no, I put it on my story. I didn't post it.
When's it going out? When's it getting posted?
I'll put it out. I think I put it on my story like a few weeks ago, but amazing. I'll put it out after. I've got a few more things.
Yeah, that's all right.
But at the moment, like, I think that what I'm trying to create this year is I'm trying to bring myself into my art a lot more, and I have a lot on my mind when it comes to this, and there's something I've really struggled with, which I use now as fuel for my creativity, is my mental health. And like, I've struggled severely with mental health issues for like years and years, because of, school stuff, because of a lot of different things. And like, until I think like last year, like, I started getting anxiety for the first time, like, that was noticeable. But before that, it was just insane, like, depression. But I got to a point where I was like, I could be depressed and do nothing. And like, being depressed is hard because you don't have any drive for anything.
Yeah, it's hard.
And there was a place like when I was at my lowest, where I was like, either I can stay here and just ruin my life, or I can just have a just do it moment. And even though it's like, because I'm at rock bottom and I have no energy to do anything and I don't have any drive, just forcing myself is the only way I can get past this, is forcing myself to overcome this, and allowing people to speak into my life, and allowing myself to be open with people without getting, regardless of the fact that I might get hurt again. It's like, that was a hard struggle, and I want to implement that and implement my anxiety and implement a lot of different things with my mental health that I am on a roller coaster with into my artwork, to kind of show people what, like, how I operate, but without trying to be too angsty, I guess. But like, this year is like, I'm trying to project me as this is who I am, or this is who I am becoming into my art.
Yeah, man, I'm so pumped for this. This is sick.
So that's when it's going to come to music videos, and that's when it's coming to my visual mediums and stuff like that. Like, my brother, as I said, who's making music, he's about to release a song, and his first EP, which is going to explode. I'm so excited. And we're just like, because as I was saying, we're so in tune with like what we like in music and visuals. He was like playing his song, and I'm just like, we could do this and this. He's like, yeah. And it was like, I'm just like so keen. So this year I'm focusing on music videos, because I've finished film school now, and I'm like, this is it. If I don't do something now, I'm never going to do it. Like, it's just going to be like that thing where I'm just going to keep putting it off. Amazing. So it's forcing myself.
Man, I'm like hell pumped. This is sick. All right, before we end this, there's one thing we always like to do. You get a shout out a local legend who you think should come on the potty and have a bit of a chin wag.
Oh, a local legend.
A local legend who is inspiring you to do stuff that you like to do.
I'd have to again come back to Lawson, man. Like I've known Lawson since, I think halfway, my second year at film school.
Yep. And
he's one of the guys that has been very consistent after film school. Like, I've seen a lot of my mates go into it, but like, we're in on the same interest level, and we have the same ideas and that kind of stuff when it comes to our creative likes. So as soon as I started hanging out with him after film school and stuff, he just pumped me up so much. He was doing stuff in the industry. He was making music videos that are so like well done and so professional for what he has. Like, it just blew my mind. And I was like, this guy is like, he's already he's like first year out and he's killing
Just
it better
rolling
than people who
That's
are like,
amazing.
and I'm like, this guy. So
All right.
I try to surround myself with this guy as much as I can. He needs to come on here because he's got some experience and he's a cool guy.
You heard it here first, Lawson. I'm gonna look his deadpan in the camera.
I'm gonna tag him.
He's coming on. You're gonna come on. Yes.
He's from Brisbane, but it's all right. He comes
right.
locally.
That's okay. It's not just on the sunny coast. This is throughout. It's gonna be throughout Australia and eventually throughout the world.
Right.
You heard it first coming out of my mouth. But
International.
he's coming. Oh, amazing. Well, let's just end on that. I'm so pumped for you, man. Like this is gonna be absolutely amazing year for you. And yeah, like I don't know, guys. Everyone listening, that has been a pump up episode, and I am so stoked and super happy for Tyler to get out there. Please follow him, follow his socials. I'll chuck them all in. And yeah, this has been another episode of Creative Appetite, and goddamn, wait for the next one. Let's go. Woo!